the theft of American technology, and they're still doing that, by the way. These guys have stolen, I think since in the last 20 years, almost $10 trillion worth of American IP. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. You don't have property rights in China if you're an American company, right? Yeah. So this is a problem. So what they've done essentially is they've cheated, they've stolen, and they've set up a system where the playing field is not at all level when an American company is competing with a Chinese company.
You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. You are listening to and watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. Well, tariffs have been all the rage. It looks like the markets have calmed down enough. They've accepted the inevitability of the Trump tariff regime. Is it a plus? Is it a minus? I want to know your thoughts. Do you think tariffs are going to help make America great again, or is it going to bring turmoil to the world? But one person who does believe that they are beneficial, Spencer Morrison, author of Reshore, Tariffs Will Bring Our Jobs Home and Revive the American Dream. Spencer, it's great to have you on. You know, growing up, I was really into Milton Friedman, free trade, all of this. But free trade never really took into account weaponized free trade. And that's kind of what we've been having over the past 50 years, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And, thanks for having me on the program. I love coming on and having an in-depth discussion about these issues. You're entirely right. So for the last 50 years, especially, ever since 1974, America has been running a large chronic trade deficit. You know, the cumulative value of that trade deficit when we adjust it for inflation, it's over $28 trillion. That's like a whole year of our GDP that we use to buy products from foreign countries over and above what we built in this country. And that's caused a lot of economic dislocation. So you look, for example, since 2001, when China joined the World Trade Organization, over 60,000 factories closed. They moved to China because we don't need them anymore. We're buying the Chinese products. Mm-hmm. Over 5 million manufacturing jobs. They left our shores. They went to China. They went to Mexico. And on top of that, the balance of payments, right? So we still have to pay for these products. We're not getting them for free, but we're not making anything to trade for them. So in order to pay for them, what we have to do is we have to sell off assets. So the value of things that we made in the past, things like the value of our stock market, houses, or we have to sell debt. So the promise to make product in the future. As a result, what's happened is we've done the old switcheroo. We've taken a whole lot of money from the productive economy, from Main Street, and we sort of funneled it into Wall Street and the financial sectors. So it's been a really bad, deal for the ordinary American who, works for a living.
Yeah, it's who thought this was a good idea? It's a funny thing. I was talking to a group of guys I'm friends with. We have coffee together at Starbucks regularly. And I live in Palm Beach County. It's the most dysfunctional county in Florida by far because it's the size, it's bigger than Rhode Island, it's bigger than Delaware, and parts of the county are agricultural, which bear no connection to the coastal communities. So I'm saying just redraw the lines. And the resistance I get from guys who understand inefficiency and understand how screwed up government is, it's like, why would you want to do that? Like everything should just stay the way it is. But, before it's the way it is now, it wasn't that way, right? In the 50s, 60s, 70s, the U.S. was a manufacturing powerhouse, the manufacturing powerhouse of the world. And it's not because our quality got so bad. Other countries, certain industries, autos, etc., quality definitely was a factor in their decline, but it was really just unfair trade practices that caused this situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, so we have to understand the dynamics that have led to this offshoring disaster, and ultimately, it doesn't actually boil down to your standard sort of economic models. What we have here is a confluence of both economics and politics, right? People need to understand that the economy is just not this this thing that sort of operates above us and operates according to its own laws. There are foreign governments, and in fact our government, that take large stakes in the economy and would like to manipulate it for their own purposes. And China has been doing that expertly, right? So one of the things that China did in the 1980s and leading into the early 2000s is they subsidized the heck out of their manufacturing sector. They gave preferential land use policies. They looked the other way in terms of, IP theft, the theft of American technology. And they're still doing that, by the way. These guys have stolen, I think since in the last 20 years, almost $10 trillion worth of American IP. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. You don't have property rights in China if you're an American company, right? Yeah. So this is a problem. So what they've done essentially is they've cheated. They've stolen, and they've set up a system where the playing field is not at all level when an American company is competing with a Chinese company. It's not level. They're backed by their government. They're allowed to steal technology. Of course, our guys can't do that. And the result is that we're getting outcompeted, not because our products are necessarily more expensive and not because our products are of worse quality. We're getting outcompeted because the Chinese government is plugging a lot of money into their businesses for the purposes of outcompeting our industry. And then, you know what? The thing is, this is what Peter Navarro has rightly pointed out. Once the Chinese outcompete our industries and they kill them, they move in and then they jack up the prices. So what they're doing is they're playing a long game. They're dumping their products and then establishing monopolies because they know that, free trade is not just about what's good today. They're looking at it from a business and an investment standpoint. They want to kill our businesses so they can take the market share, not today, 10 years from now. And that's the real difference.
And you know what? I was listening to a guy who's an inventor and big on Amazon, and he says they look for markets when they see you're doing 5 million or more, and it's easy to figure out because the algorithms are available on Amazon. They then start to compete with you. They copy your design, whether you have a trademark, copyright, or patent, doesn't matter. You complain to Amazon, they do absolutely nothing. Then they overwhelm the sector. They'll have 10 of them there, all selling the same thing, different prices, different everything. And this is how they destroy American businesses here.
Yeah, we're the ones that invent and innovate. They copy, but they do it cheaper because they have the state lowering their prices artificially.
Slave labor.
Right? And slave labor. I mean, we don't talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's the same thing that's happening in India, too. The price of labor in India is 1/24th what it is in the States. I mean, how do you compete with that on price? You can't.
Yeah, totally cannot. So the solution is what Trump is doing. And I have a theory that I believe that China has already capitulated. The only reason why Trump hasn't gone in heavier is because the Chinese illusion of an economy has already collapsed, and that would be the final nail in their coffin. But things like fentanyl, they've definitely cracked down on a lot of it. I think the intellectual property is starting to become an issue here. What are your thoughts?
I think people are finally talking about the IP. I mean, this has been going on for decades, and no one even talks about it. It's pretty unbelievable. But, what I'll say about China is I will believe it when I see it. China's been saying that.
Verify.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's important to remember that China, when they joined the World Trade Organization, they already signed up for all of this because that was a component of them joining. And then, obviously they didn't actually follow through on any of it. It's been over 20 years. So, they're saying a lot of the right things. But, the proof is in the pudding. Are they going to actually follow through? I'm not so sure. You mentioned at the start of the program Milton Friedman, and I think I just wanted to come back to that because we were just talking about the difference between a good trade today and a good trade tomorrow. Milton Friedman has been absolutely instrumental. His ideas and maybe more so his publicity in a lot of ways in communicating about economics to ordinary people, and I think most of that has been for the best. The one thing that I would like to just say in terms of this free trade sort of paradox where America's free trading and yet we seem to be getting the short end of the stick. The reason for that is because economics as a discipline looks at whether or not a trade is efficient today. It's a very different modality and a way of looking at things. It's very different than the point of view of an investor who's looking at, this trade may be inefficient today, but it could be a good investment 10 years from now. And in his book, Free to Choose, Milton Friedman gave this example of the sort of maximizing comparative advantage through the secretary and the lawyer. And he said, obviously, the secretary is good at typing. The lawyer is good at doing legal work. It makes sense for the firm that the lawyer specializes. Yeah, he's got to specialize in doing the legal work rather than doing his own typing. And the paralegal is going to be doing the typing, and that'll make everybody richer. And of course, that's true. But when you look at it from an investment perspective, it's better for the paralegal to go to law school and become a lawyer, because even if she's a bottom feeder lawyer, she's going to make more money than the best paid paralegal in the world, right? Yeah. So that's the difference, right? So it makes good sense to trade and make that trade now, but 10 years from now, it actually doesn't make it. The analogy falls apart. And the same thing is true with our general economy. It might make sense to buy cheap goods from China now, but 10 years from now, when we've hollowed out our industrial base, we've lost the capacity to make things. That stifles our innovation and our ability to grow the economy in the long run.
Exactly. So what feels good now isn't going to feel so good in 10 years when the results of it happen. All right. Well,
exactly.
So everybody out there, get the book like I did. It's called Reshore, How Tariffs Will Bring Our Jobs Home, Revive the American Dream. I think it's already happening now, Spencer. It's happening so much faster because AI makes things happen way faster than anybody ever believed possible. And hey, I've been writing books. The AI doesn't write it for me, but it sure as heck does clean up my lousy work from my first draft and enables me to edit at a rate that I never believed possible before. And everybody get the book. Yeah. Highly recommended. I think it'll give you an insight. But I want to know your feelings out there. Is reshoring the key? Is it possible to save the American dream, or is the American dream really dead? And how are you contributing? How's the American dream working for you? Spencer, really appreciate it. Hey, if you've got a question, comment, kl@kerrylutz.com. And of course, you will find a link to Spencer's book and site on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Just ask that you please sign up for our free newsletter, like over 70,000 of you out there have done. Spencer, it's great connecting with you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.